Iowa farmers are juggling a lot as we get into planting season. Tariffs hitting export markets, crop prices dropping, $31 billion in federal funding that could get delayed by the Department of Government Efficiency. And to make it worse, like we've told you, you got that USDA $11 million in funding getting pulled that was meant to help small farms get fresh and local food to schools, pantries, and child care centers. Iowa's News Now investigative reporter Nick Elhaj is checking in with some local farms to see how they're handling everything.
From fresh apples to locally raised pork, Iowa farms have supplied schools and food banks with locally grown food for years through USDA partnerships. But with federal funding slashed, farmers here say what was once a win-win for their businesses and communities has turned into a lose-lose.
I love being a farmer. I love wearing all of the hats. I love being a small business owner. I love nothing more than raising our animals and selling meat to people. Sleepless nights are real, but we think it's worth it to be able to feed people.
For years, Anna Pesek's farm has been a direct link between Iowa's rural fields and school cafeterias, food banks, and child care centers. But now the system she and hundreds of farmers like her rely on is disappearing.
We've been selling about 10 to 20% of our product through the program since 2022. So, you know, it's not everything, but it is sizable.
The Local Food Purchasing Assistance, or LFPA program, launched in 2022 as part of a federal initiative to strengthen local food systems. Alongside it, the Local Food for Schools, or LFS program, serves fresh, local food to schools and childcare centers, providing a combined $7.8 million in local food purchases in Iowa over the past 3 years. It was such a success, the programs got a 3-year renewal back in October. But just months later, the Trump administration canceled the funding, cutting $11.3 million earmarked for Iowa farmers through 2028.
When this program came through, it enabled us to expand our business, plant more trees, plant more potatoes, and know that there was a secure outlet to send our product. This year I'm going to grow 2 acres of cabbage because I can sell that cabbage directly to our local food hub and they can get it to the schools and the food pantries.
For Johnson, the program meant stability. Last year alone, her farm sold nearly $100,000 worth of apples and other produce through the programs.
And that's about 25% of our local food production from last year. And this year, we're actually increasing our production. We planted 1,500 more trees that are going to come into production now. And the idea was that those trees were going to feed this program and feed the food hubs.
The margins are always razor thin. The time that could go to focusing on producing more local food will now go to thinking about how to access new markets and reshift our business when we have spent the last 3 years building these supply chains. We're going to take a huge loss because there's no individual customer that's going to take 50,000 pounds of apples. Our margins are about what we got cut for funding. We're going to have to make some hard choices even about staffing this year.
Without these programs, farmers are left holding the bag for a market that no longer exists. Food hubs and pantries are questioning if they can stay open, and schools are reconsidering local food altogether.
The loss is actually greater than my individual farm on what I'm losing this season. The loss is all of that infrastructure that was built really quickly was just stripped away.
Things are risky, and when it feels like things change abruptly or the rug is pulled out from under you, takes a lot of effort and energy and stress to pivot things.
Both Pesek and Johnson, along with dozens of other farmers, sent a letter this week to USDA Secretary Brooke Rollins, urging her to reverse the decision.
We have food hubs that are wondering if they're going to have to go under, have to close their doors. We have food pantries that are not sure how they're going to operate. So this was not a farm handout. It was actually a way to build infrastructure, give footing to local food farmers, and keep that money in Iowa.
In a statement to Iowa's News Now, a representative from the Iowa Department of Ag claims it should come as no surprise that the program, announced by executive rather than legislative action, won't be continued, and that the department will continue to pursue future opportunities to grow markets for local farmers, pointing to a $70,000 program announced last week, but is still a far cry from the $11 million lost.
Here in Iowa, we had a really well-oiled machine. It was a win-win. Ending the program, it is a lose-lose.
In Central City, Nick Elhaj, Iowa's News Now.